up your chair now. Let the good smoke fill the air. Yeah. Talking life, growth and legacy. It's an experience. Can't you see? You see it. You're sitting in the cigar chair.
Hello, everyone. My name is Ron Funderburg. I'm your host of the Cigar Chair Podcast. I'm here in Woodbridge, New Jersey, at the Mane Street Cigar Lounge. What a beautiful day to enjoy a cigar, a nice cocktail, and just great conversation amongst brethren and also amongst the queens that smoke cigars as well. Sisters of the leaf, brothers of the leaf. It gets no better than that. Today we're going to talk about purposes and reasoning why we do what we do when it comes down to the cigars. Everybody wants to know why we smoke cigars and what's the big deal about smoking cigars. That's why I want to make sure that I bring guests on here who've been smoking cigars and been involved with cigars for a good amount of time now. And they're going to break down their reasons why they do what they do. Everybody has a story, right? So we're going to find that out today. I have a guest today. It's not just a regular guest, but it's a special guest. Reason is, he is one of the brothers of the organization I'm a part of. Also, he's the manager of this here shop that we have in our podcast in. So I'm going to bring my guest on today, Frank. Frank is real good. Man, I don't know what more to say about this guy. Like, he's amazing. Like, seriously. So, Frank, how you doing today, sir?
I'm doing well. Well.
Good. I'm glad that you came on the show. Thank you. I appreciate it. Tell us a little bit more about yourself and your background and when it came to cigars and how you got involved. I want to know more about you. Tell us more about you today, Frank.
Well, first of all, Ron, thank you for having me on the show. You and I go back a little bit.
Absolutely.
On top of just being in the cigar world, we're brothers. Cigars. How it all started for me. It was a couple years back. I started smoking cigars when I was about 17 years old. I always had some sort of connection with cigars, and I wanted to know what it was all about. The influence for me in the cigar world and what got me into cigars was my grandfather, may he rest his soul. He was always involved in cigars. The type of business that he was in, cigars went hand in hand. We're talking about back in the 50s and 60s in Spain. He used to manage a lot of the famous bullfighters, bars and taverns.
Oh, okay.
He was very big involved in the bullfighting world in Spain at the time. He used to manage a lot of the top bullfighters' businesses. And if you know a little bit about that world in cigars, they go hand in hand.
Right.
So growing up, seeing pictures of my grandfather, always well dressed, and always had a cigar in his hand.
In his hand, yeah.
So fast forward, he passes away, but my grandmother still had all his cigars and cigar accoutrements out, in the living room. So I always grew up seeing, pipes and cutters and lighters and humidors. So I would normally travel every year, spend my summers overseas. And it just happened that at 17, I'm spending a summer overseas, and I'm like, let me see what this whole cigar thing is about. And funny story is, I go in to a cigar shop in Madrid, in the neighborhood. I don't know what I was doing. All I saw
we all know in the beginning.
Right. I see, what do I see? Older guys smoking. Right. I asked for the one cigar. It's a brand. It's a dry cured cigar, Spanish brand called Farias. I didn't know what I was doing. I cut, with my teeth the cigar. I light it up, and what's the first thing I do? I inhale the smoke.
Oh man, bad idea.
Bad idea.
Bad idea.
I start turning every single color under the sun. And it's funny because I'm at a park. I'm on a park bench, and on the other side of the park bench, there's an older gentleman. He sees what's going on. He starts laughing, and he says, "Come here, kid, let me show you how it's done." And he showed me the proper way of cutting it, lighting it. And it was, quite honestly, it was a wrap after that. Now, I didn't, I wasn't full blown into smoking like I am now. I would smoke on occasion. Fast forward, after high school, I ended up moving to Spain. And I ended up living there for 10 years.
Okay.
I went into the service over there, had worked, college, ended up having a family business, which that kind of led the tempo to where I'm at today. My family was very involved in the furniture business for many years. That's what my grandfather did, but we shifted. My mom always loved cooking and serving other people, so we shifted our business to a Cuban restaurant. With that said, I was managing the bar. I was a bartender, managed the different Cuban bands, just kind of engulfed the whole hospitality,
right,
and what that comes with, making people feel special,
right,
giving them the experience. So fast forward, I then now relocate back to the States. And while the time I was in Spain, I cut my teeth with Cuban cigars. This is during.
Now, is that a normal thing to cut your teeth with cigars, or like people want to know, like, they'll hear the cool thing by just biting the head of the cigar, but is that a good way to do it? Should they use a cutter? Like, what's the best way to cut a cigar?
I personally, we got the tools. Let's do a nice cut. But listen, when you don't have something like that around, you do it the old school way. You just bite the cap off, and light your cigar. But the thing is that in Spain, the cigars at the time that were readily available were all Cuban brands.
Oh wow!
So that's how I basically started in the whole cigar world. My everyday cigar over there was the Monte Cristo No. 2.
Oh, nice. And I was going to ask you that. What drew you in? Like, what was the cigar that drew you in, and why?
Just the whole thing around it. You see that it's not something for everybody, and the people that tend to smoke cigars, or the ones that I would see smoke cigars, were seemed of a different level. These people that I would see were always a little bit more polished. The culture overseas is more of enjoying the cigar at the end of your day, so it gravitated towards me. I've always been that person that, you work, but, you have time to relax and play. And what I loved about the cigar is, you get the, everything, the tastes, the notes and everything like that. But the fact that you had to have time.
Right.
You gave yourself time, you're outside, you're enjoying yourself, you're having something to drink. And then what made me fall in love with that whole culture is the fact that you can sit down and have conversations with people. You need time for that,
right.
And this offers you that time. So, that's kind of how I started. Then when I went into the service, there was always, cigars with me whenever I'd go out, and do maneuvers. Cigars were always there, kind of eased the tempo of what was going on.
Now, what brings, what is the whole purpose of smoking cigars? Like, people want to know, why is it so cool? Like, what's the reason behind it? Is the network? Is it just the fellowship? Is it just to look cool? Like, what is your reason? Can you tell people what's your reason?
Well, for me, it was more of, my grandfather enjoyed this. I wanted to know why, and then I came to the realization that, after a hectic day, this is a reward. It gave me time to be able to sit down, if I'm smoking by myself, which I do a little bit of both. I enjoy times by myself. It's a moment of reflection, makes you think. when you're trying something new or you're smoking something that you've already smoked, it makes you one with the cigar. That experience you don't really get with a lot of things, especially in the area where we live,
Right.
where it's a hustle and bustle. Everyone's always running, and to be able to afford the time to be able to sit down and just the world slows down. I think I'm lucky to be able to do that. A lot of people don't have that luck. People find their escape maybe on other things, and to each their own, but I always feel that after a long day, this is what sets the tone for how the evening or how the day is going to go, and that's more so than just the taste and what you get out of the cigar.
Right.
That part is what keeps me in and sucked me into the whole cigar, world and space.
Okay. Okay. All right, great. So tell me a little bit more. I would like, well, not just me, but of course our audience would like to know, what is the best way to toast your cigar, to cut your cigar? Like, what's the proper ways? Can you give us a little bit of tips about that?
So I always like, before lighting up, I cut the cap of the cigar. You don't want to go too deep into the cut. You literally just want to do right above the shoulders of the cigar.
And when you say the shoulders, like where would it be the shoulders?
So obviously cigars are different shapes. We call them vitolas.
Okay.
Right. You have cigars that are in Spanish called parejo, which is a cylinder, right?
Okay.
And normally you'll see a bend on the top of the cigar to the cap.
Okay.
Right. So what you want to do is, as you're cutting the cigar, you don't want to go past the bend. That's the shoulder of the cigar.
Okay.
You want to cut right on top.
Right.
So if you get a cutter, and there's many different types of cutters out there. I like to use the Les Fin Lam cutter. You just place it also gently on it like this, and you notice that I don't come straight deep into it. I come right on top and just cut right through.
Nice.
Right?
Okay.
Prior to lighting, I like to take what's called a cold draw.
Okay.
And that's without lighting the cigar. You take, a puff in to kind of get the notes of what the tobacco is all about. Cigar smoking is all about senses.
Right.
We have the normal senses on our palate. The sweet, sour, salty, bitter, umami notes, and you get that with the cold draw. You can get a kind of sense of where the tobacco's at.
Right.
After I do that, I like to take the cigar, and then I like to take my lighter and just toast the foot of the cigar.
Right.
And the reason why I do that, and if you notice, I tend to keep the flame at a distance. You don't necessarily have to put the whole flame on the cigar. The heat is going to, light that cigar. But we toast it so that as we smoke, the burn is even.
Even out.
It evens it out,
So it
so that
won't
you don't.
canoe or anything
It
like
won't
that.
canoe.
Right.
There are times where you're smoking and just, hey, listen, this is handmade.
Right.
So you're gonna get moments where it might burn uneven. You just take your lighter and just touch it up where it's a little bit uneven, so that it continues to burn evenly.
Right.
Once I toast it, then I go take a couple drags on it,
Okay, got
right? And then I'll circle the flame around it just to get it a complete light. And then just I say I baby it. I have a conversation with you. If it's a well-constructed cigar, sometimes you could lay it, go out, do something, come back a minute later, and it's
still
right
burn.
where you left it off.
Nice. Now, what would be the cause of it just going out? Is it because you didn't light the cigar correctly? Or because, some people, they could sit a cigar down and like literally 30 seconds later, it's done.
Right.
But it looked like they toasted or they, lit the cigar perfectly.
A couple of things happen with that. It could be in the initial lighting.
Mm-hmm.
It could also be that the cigar is still a little too humid. Humidity plays a big factor in the constant lighting and relighting of a cigar, right? So when you go out to cigar events and you see the cigar roller, right? He's rolling the cigar, right?
Yeah.
A good cigar roller will tell you, if you're not going to smoke it right now, put that cigar away 30 days in your humidor. When you say 30 days, why? When he's rolling, normally that wrapper that he's going to, the last leaf that he puts on the cigar, it's wet, it's humidified, it needs to be pliable, can't be dry, right? So that's what allows you to be able to roll the filler binder onto the cigar. Because there's moisture, if you don't smoke it at that moment, if you try to smoke it 3 days later, you're going to constantly be relighting. Why? Because that moisture is going to filter through the binder and the filler.
Wow.
Which, heat and water just don't mix.
Don't mix up.
Don't mix, right? So that's why you want to put it away so it dries out just right. It maintains the humidity that it's intended to have. But that's probably some of the reasons. Either the initial light wasn't done right, or the cigar is over humidified, which needs a little bit more time in the humidor just to get acclimated to the right
construction on the cigar.
Right, exactly.
Right. Okay. All right, great. So when you have your cigars, Frank, what do you normally drink with it?
I'm a big bourbon drinker. I like bourbon, and it's funny because I initially the spirit of choice that I started off with was rum. And again, living in Spain, you had the Cuban rums. My favorite rum is the Havana Club 7.
Okay. Goes
very well with cigars, not overly sweet. But I got introduced, actually, before bourbon, I got introduced to Scotch, which I do like. I like single malt Scotch. They pair very well with Cuban style cigars that are on that strength profile. Mainly Cuban cigars are not full bodies, they're more on the medium level. Scotches go very well with that. But then being here in the US and frequenting Mane Street is a very big bourbon house. A lot of the regulars are big bourbon drinkers, and it's where I got introduced to bourbon. Funny enough, with having the rum background, transitioning to bourbon is very natural because the sweetness that you get, even though it's not as sweet as a rum, but it's within that evolution, of the sweetness that you get out of rum, and then the sweetness that you can get out of bourbon. Even though rum is sugarcane, bourbon is corn. Right. But the sugar content is there. It's a little bit more heat on the bourbon, which I love. And I just think where I'm at now in terms of the flavor profiles of cigars, I like more medium plus the full body cigars. That's where I tend to be at right now. It just matches, it marries very well with the bourbons. Okay.
So what do cigars actually do for you, Frank? Like with me, like you said, you want to get off, it's a reward, right? But then again, for me, when I get off of work or if I just had a long day, I have me a nice stick. However, even have me a nice glass of bourbon, or usually I'll go to a wine, something that's not too heavy, something that will balance out, us cigar smokers in the morning. You don't want to just start drinking in the morning. However, sometimes you want to treat yourself.
Absolutely.
Not cheat yourself, people. Treat yourself all the time. But, what does it do for you? Like, what?
The culture that I grew up in, being half Spanish and half Cuban, you always have something to kind of relax yourself, in terms of spirits and drinks, right? Cuban side, you could be playing dominoes, either drinking beer or rum. The Spanish side, we take the whole concept of gastronomy, food and drinks very seriously. It's almost like a religion to us, right? So I grew up with that. In my house, at the table, the first thing that was set on the table before anything else was a bottle of wine and a loaf of bread.
Oh, nice.
All right. So I grew up with that. My family's very involved in wineries. The region where my family's from, in the south of Spain, is where a lot of the brandies and sherries are produced. So I grew up with that, right? And I was always taught what wines to drink with what foods, when to drink wine, when to drink spirits. So I that's part of my culture, right? What having a spirit like bourbon or rum or scotch pair with my cigar just adds to the experience that you have in the moment, right? Normally, right now we're having conversation, right? So, we're drinking a bourbon, we're smoking a cigar. It adds to that. I find myself that I don't normally drink a spirit by itself. It always has to be with a cigar. I enjoy it more. Okay. You touched on wine. People don't know, but wine pairs very well with certain cigars.
Absolutely.
Especially if we're talking about a fuller body cigar. The drier wines tend to pair very well. It complements. When you're looking at a spirit and you're looking at a cigar, you want both of them to complement each other. You don't want the cigar to take away from what you're drinking. Right. You don't want what you're drinking to take away from the cigar. You have to have a balance.
Right.
And again, these concepts, what we were just talking about balance, that's in everything. What we're doing is balance right now. We're balancing our time, we're balancing, our experience. Everyone, we're all very busy, but to be able to come and get out of our regular routine and enjoy something like this, that creates a balance. You're not giving everything to one thing. You're making sure that you're balancing your time. Time is the most expensive commodity, right? And if we don't take time to enjoy it, we just spent a lot.
Right. So with that time, like, do you prefer? Tell the audience, if you could explain to the audience, like, do you prefer smoking alone or do you prefer smoking with others? What's your preference?
I'm a social butterfly, so I always like to be around people. And I like the majority of the smoking time that I do is around people. Okay. But that's not to say that there are moments and times where I like to just be alone. I have my backyard. I have a deck, hardtop gazebo, and in the warmer months, I just in the mornings like to go out there, have my coffee, have my cigar, listen to music. Sometimes later on in the day, if I'm just hanging at home, I just want to relax at home. It's a full day of smoking cigars. From the morning, the afternoon to the evening. And I have what you call my breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
There you
cigars.
Go. Gotta have that. Gotta have that.
And,
so what's your go-to cigar though? Like, what is your, if you said, it's just a regular day, I'm just gonna have my usual. What is your usual cigar that you would smoke? So
I really enjoy Hiram & Solomon cigars.
And you're actually a rep for Hiram & Solomon, right?
I am a rep for them.
That's dope. How long you been doing that for?
So officially 3 years. Okay. But unofficially, I've been a fan of the brand, especially when they moved operations over to Nicaragua, to the Plasencia factory. I'm a big fan of Plasencia, Nestor. Great people, great product.
Yeah, that's my brother right there. Big up Nestor.
Yes, yes. But I met Fuad, the owner of the brand, many years ago, and we just had a great connection. And from day one, I've always supported the brand. I would go to events, I'd help him out with events and stuff like that. But one thing I like about Hiram & Solomon cigars is that there's a cigar for every palate.
Right.
You can have, if you're a lighter smoker, there are cigars for that palate. If you're more on the medium spectrum, we have cigars for that palate. And if you're a full body smoker, you have cigars for that palate as well. But I tend to always catch myself smoking a Hiram and Solomon. But that's not the only thing I smoke. I smoke everything. I mean, being in the industry, I got to know what's out there.
Right.
When
you say everything, people, we're talking about cigars. Not everything.
Cigars.
Let's get that right.
Right. Just make that clear. But sure. Being in the industry that I'm at, I have to know what's out there. I have to know what people like to smoke. Do I like everything? No.
Right.
Do I try to taste everything? Yes. It's funny because a lot of people, in the cigar world, when it comes time for a celebration, a birthday, whatever, what do people gift? Cigars, right?
For sure.
And, a lot of people have said, with you, it's always a problem, because...
Why is it always a problem, right?
Well, because you smoke everything, and you're that cigar nerd, that doesn't go for the mainstream stuff. You go for, think of wine, right?
Right.
Wine has different vintages and different regions, right?
Right.
And, not that I'm a wine connoisseur, but, I grew up with wine.
So you're familiar.
I'm familiar, right? And I like to look at the year, the vintage, where it was grown, this and that, right? Well, I'm kind of the same thing with cigars, right? If I go to a place and, I find out, oh, this cigar is from this place, and it uses this type of tobacco and stuff. Even if it's not a well-known brand, I'm gonna smoke it. And a lot of times, the stuff that's in my rotation is stuff that people might not know much about, or have a knowledge on. But because I see who manufactures the cigar, where the cigar comes from, in my mind, I'm like, all right, this is something that I could probably enjoy, right? And a lot of times, like 8 out of 10 times, you know what? It's a cigar that that I enjoy, that hits the notes that I'm looking for. People say, oh well, that cigar is over there is $30, but you're not smoking it. I was like, I don't need to. This cigar over here that's $10, $12 for me is better than that one.
Absolutely. I mean, I smoke cigars that's like $4 or $5.
Right.
And it's a beautiful.
It's a beautiful cigar.
Greatly hand rolled. Construction is great. The draw is great on it. The tobacco is just beautiful. So I don't really discriminate. I mean, right now I'm drinking. I'm drinking too.
Right.
I'm smoking a Tabernacle, which is pretty good. The David, beautiful cigar.
Nick Melillo, great guy.
Exactly.
Foundation Cigars.
Yes. Big up to Foundation Cigars as well.
Pennsylvania, Connecticut Broadleaf.
Yes.
He does a very good job. From the Connecticut Valley, he pays very much homage to that region of the U.S.
Yes.
And he does a very great job. In developing the product that he puts out. I'm a big fan of Foundation, and it's funny because you're saying what cigars I respect a lot certain manufacturers for the product that they do, the care that they take with the cigars. Eric Espinosa, the product that he puts out, he partners up with AJ Fernandez. And it's just great. Tatuaje. Pete Johnson, what he has done in the cigar industry, the product that he puts out, obviously at the My Father Cigar Factory, Pepin Garcia, he's royalty in the cigar industry. These are brands, that are just, staples, and if ever, if I'm ever, available to grab, I always grab. I really respect what they do and what they put out there. And these are cigars that are on my rotation, here at Mane Street, those 3 brands in particular, we're a big proponent of those brands. Another brand that I love and what he does, and the funny thing is that he comes from a wine background, is James Brown with Black Label Trading Company.
Oh wow!
I mean, listen, when you're dealing with the cigar retail industry, you can't just have cigars that you like. You got to have cigars that people gravitate to and like. But these brands that I just mentioned are always present in our humidor. And when people come into that humidor and they're looking for recommendations and they're looking for things, I don't ever push what I like to smoke. I need to find out where they're at, and I present. Sometimes I present Espinosa, sometimes I present My Father, sometimes I present Tatuaje Foundation, depending on where they need to be at, what they're going to, if it's their first time smoking a cigar, if they're seasoned cigar smokers, what have you eaten that's going to influence your experience with the cigar? What are you going to drink with it? What are you planning on doing? All that comes into play, and for me, people say, well, what's your favorite cigar? It's a very hard question to answer.
There's a lot of great cigars.
There's a lot of great cigars out there. A lot of great cigars out there. Me coming from a Cuban cigar smoking background, people would think, Cuban cigars. Quite honestly, Cuban cigars are not my favorite at the moment. When I had to kind of relearn how to smoke cigars coming back to the U.S., I went through a phase there where, I had to buy different cigars that I didn't know. I didn't know anything about Nicaraguan cigars. I didn't know anything about Dominican cigars, So when I started experimenting with brands, I was introduced to Padron.
Padron is a good one.
And I tell you something, September was my birthday month, and I think I've smoked the most amount of Padrones in that month that I've ever smoked in all my years of smoking cigars. And I tell you, it's a rabbit hole that you fall into that sometimes you gotta catch. Like, I'm not gonna smoke anymore.
Right. I'm good.
I'm good. Because for me, a brand like that, a brand like Plasencia, these are cigars that and not to say that other brands don't take pride and honor in what they do, but these particular brands for me are cigars that I like to smoke not so often when I'm either celebrating something or just want that experience of me and the cigar by itself, right? I do the same, believe it or not, with certain blends within Hiram and Solomon. Right now I'm smoking the Master Mason, and it's a Habano Maduro Oscuro wrapper. It's got tobacco from different regions, a lot of Ometepe, Jalapa in there from Nicaragua, and even though it's a Maduro, it's a full flavor, not necessarily full strength, which right now with what we're drinking pairs absolutely nicely, because this Basil Hayden, even though it's got the nice heat notes, it's not a very overly strong, overpowering bourbon, right? So when people say, well, what's your favorite cigar? I was like, well, you know what? It's not. The question is not what my favorite cigar is. The question is, what was your best experience with a cigar?
And that's one of our questions. What is your best experience? What was your best experience?
So we were saying that, people ask me, what's your favorite cigar? And I tell people sometimes it's not necessarily what my favorite cigar is, it's the experience behind it and what made it memorable, right? So the Bejique B52. All right, the Bejique brand is a brand that came out early 2000s. Prior to that was the Cohiba Esplendido, which I enjoyed, right? But I was introduced to the Bejique. My cousin, his cousin was able to get him some Bejiques brought over from Cuba. And one summer we're on the porch of my house, and it was just literally him, the Bejique, and a bottle of Glenmorangie 18 Scotch. We sat out there for hours, smoking one cigar, drinking, and just,
the beauty of the fellowship.
The beauty of the fellowship, reminiscing when we were young up in Washington Heights, and just the old stories, the family and everything. That to this day is the best experience. And when people say, what is your favorite cigar? In that moment, that was my favorite cigar.
Awesome.
And I always, if I ever get a chance to smoke a Bejique again, it's always going to be with that in the back of my head to see if I can resemble that experience. Nice. So a lot of times, people say, oh, cigars are addicting. No, cigar smoking is not an addiction. It's a habit.
It is a habit.
I don't need to stop what I'm doing in the day to have a cigar.
Right.
For me, like I said before, is a reward, right? the lifestyle is addicting. Okay, what we're doing right now, anticipation of, I'm gonna get to go to a cigar lounge, sit down, I have my lineup of what I'm gonna smoke, I'm gonna see what they got in the humidor, the whole premise around it, I'm gonna bring my bottle, I'm gonna serve myself, I'm gonna sit down. That's the addicting part. Everything that goes around that, look how you're dressed, look how I'm dressed.
Absolutely.
I like to look good.
Makes us feel like we run the world.
Exactly.
There we go.
All that. The fragrance that you put on to go to a cigar lounge, the jewelry, the everything, right? It's a ritual.
Right.
And you and I know a little bit about that.
Absolutely.
Right? And there's a lot of resemblance between that and what we do here.
Right.
All that and that's the addictive, the addiction that I have with cigars.
Nice.
And running a cigar lounge like Mane Street Cigars, I want to bring that experience to the people that frequent Main Street or the people that come in for the first time. I want them to have that experience. I have a hospitality background, and it's all about not, obviously, that initial sensation of how they feel when they come in, but more importantly, how they feel when they leave.
Right.
That's going to dictate if they come back.
Right.
And if you've heightened their senses, if you've given them that experience, it's something that's always going to go with them. Mm-hmm. They're going to remember it, and they're going to I want more of that, and they're going to come back.
Right.
And that's what I try to do here. The whole crew that we have that works here at Main Street, it's not an employer-employee relationship. It's a relationship of brothers, of the leaf, guys that know cigars, and everyone brings something different to the table. Everyone here can speak about cigars, know cigars. It's not just about selling you the most expensive cigar. No, it's finding out what you need to smoke.
Right.
And then, once that's figured out, creating the atmosphere and the experience around it. I think I'm very fortunate to be able to manage a shop like Main Street.
Absolutely.
Main Street's been my home, since 2016. And, I started off as just a regular customer here. The previous manager, Alex, shout out to Alex. He brought me on board, and, it's been great ever since.
Awesome. Good. And tell us before we close it out here, where is Main Street exactly located? How can people get here? And do you guys offer memberships here?
Yes. So Mane Street Cigars is 53 Main Street, Woodbridge, New Jersey, very central. Mane Street Cigars is spelled M-A-N-E for the main of a house. Not M-A-I-N. That's the name of the street, but the name of of our lounge is M-A-N-E Street Cigars and Lounge.
Awesome.
Very
the
central.
Hospitality is great over here. Great over here.
We pride ourselves in making people feel special when they come.
Awesome.
We're open 7 days a week. Monday through Wednesday, we are open 10 to 9. Thursday through Saturday, 10 to 10, and Sundays, 12 to 7.
Awesome. And you guys offer membership, of course.
Yes, so we are, right now, where we're sitting in is called the Paddock Cigar Club, right? It's a private members lounge. We offer membership, two types of memberships. We're looking at expanding that. But for right now, we have a basic membership, which for $75 a month, you have access, you have a locker, you can come. It's open 24/7. The members have a app on their phone that offers them access to the shop. You can come at 2 o'clock in the morning and have a smoke. The VIP offers you the same. The only difference is that you are able to bring a guest with you every day. The same guest can come with you twice a month. For both modalities of membership, your significant other can come with you whenever. And if you're a VIP, on top of the guest that you bring. With the VIP, you get 10% off of anything you purchase at Mane Street Cigars. If you're a basic member, 10%. If you're VIP, you get 15% of anything you purchase in the shop. And if you buy a box of 20 cigars or more, you get 20% off the box purchase.
Deal.
The only thing that we ask is that the majority of the cigars that you store in your locker are purchased next door.
That's fair.
Listen, we don't hit people over the head where you just got, everything. Sometimes you get cigars gifted. Sometimes you go somewhere else and there's a cigar that maybe we don't carry.
Right.
Hard, because we got over 700 facings of cigars in that humidor. But there is those cigars that we might not have, another shop has, and you're more than welcome. But
Awesome.
The majority of the cigars that you put in your locker, we ask that you purchase next door.
Awesome.
I think they're great benefits. Mane Street Cigars, we just ask that you come in and buy cigars. Nice. Everything else, you have complimentary coffee, complimentary espresso. We have soda, water for $2. And you bring your own bottle, you want food delivered. Listen, come as you are, just
nice.
Come presentable, but come as you are.
Nice. And you guys have an event coming up?
Yeah, this is a very event-friendly establishment. I like to partner up with the brands that we have in the cigar shop. I try to keep it to at least 2 events per month. I offset some events unique just to the club members here. I do every so often. I'll do what we call tailgate Sundays.
Okay.
Depending on the football game, we'll have different deals with different manufacturers, raffles. I'll provide food for that. But in the shop, sometimes we'll have different cutting lights. Actually, this Friday, which is Halloween, we have a big Halloween party. It's going to be sponsored by Black Label Trading Company. Levi Lucas, which is the rep for the brand, will be here. We will have great deals on Black Label Trading Company brands. We will have food. You want to come with a costume, come with a costume. We'll have candy. It's always a good time, a good vibe at Mane Street. Moving forward on November 22nd, the Firm Cigar Society, which is the main hub and home of the Firm Cigar Society.
Big up to the firm, by the way.
Absolutely. We'll have their Fall Cigar Festival at the Woodbridge Elks on Rawway Avenue from 4 to 10. Multi-vendor, multi-brand cigar festival, food, live music, always a great time. Come out. You'll see it posted all through social media, on Facebook, on Instagram. One thing that we are very present on at Mane Street is on the social media outlets. So you will always see me posting everything we got going on, from new brands that come into the shop to events. Jersey Cigar Lounge is also, this is the hub for the Jersey Cigar Lounge. It's a big proponent of the brick and mortars in New Jersey. We collaborate with a lot of other shops and help each other out.
Nice.
One thing about the brotherhood and sisterhood of the Leaf is that we like to travel. We like to go to different shops and listen. It's all about helping each other out.
Absolutely.
And keeping this culture vibrant and alive, especially in our state.
Good. Well, I would like to thank you, Frank, for coming on the show once again. It's been an honor to have you here. I'm pretty sure that a lot of our audience has a lot of education, a lot of background of yourself. Mane Street, it was great. Thank you again, sir, for coming on the show. And again, folks, I'm your host, Ron Funderburg of the Cigar Chair Podcast. Look more to come. Right now, like I said, we're at Mane Street Cigar Lounge here in Woodbridge, New Jersey. And my good brother, a toast to you and salute to everybody else that's out there. Join us again with another special guest. See you soon.